useful, and I guess to me wasn't necessarily a surprise in that there is interest in 32nd Avenue and leanings toward it, but not universal by any means. And plenty of people that are either don't like any of the options or don't feel a new bridge in this area is the right answer. Question number 2, we're trying to sort of take people with concerns and channel that into something constructive. So what would you change, if anything, to improve the performance of each bridge option? We did not get a lot of responses. It was the type of question that you had to think about, but I think the ones we did get were useful. So for Elks Drive, 24 people wrote us something about an improvement, and the themes that came out there were really around the local streets, improved traffic control at intersections, suggestions for a signal or a roundabout. Handful of comments felt that the elevation of the bridge overall should be increased. And then modifying the Grand Forks approach, again, a couple of comments which relates to sort of where or how it would land on the Grand Forks side. 32nd Avenue, we got a few more responses, 37, and some similar themes, as you can see, but certainly that consistent attention around pedestrian safety and school safety, in addition to sort of traffic control at intersections in general.
The next steps would be obviously to finish the report, get it posted. The MPO board will accept the report and then distribute its findings of the report. If you recall, previous to this report, there was a hydraulic study that looked at sites, more sites than this one. The hydraulic study was able to eliminate some sites due to technical reasons, the hydraulic impact. One of the purpose of this study was to see if there were things that would allow us to eliminate the remaining 3 options. And as we went through the study and documented, we didn't find any major failures with any of the 3 options. So this study is not eliminating any of the options from being pursued further. It does evaluate and give you a bit of a scoring and a ranking of the remaining options and what the public feedback was on those options. And so the next steps would then be for both cities and the MPO to continue to work together on trying to fund a bridge that serves the city-to-city traffic. That's, I think you'll see the study documents the need for. There's still a continued effort in addition to this to try to find funding and get both counties to pursue the Merrifield Bridge option as well. I guess the favorable thing in the news, a lot of the reasons why we don't have these additional bridges in the past have been too tight of a funding availability out there, both from a national perspective and from both states' perspective. There's a lot of funds that are in the coffers now and available. On the national level, Congress created 2 new programs specifically for bridges. One is a program that is distributed by a formula, so each state is going to get X number of millions of dollars per year for the next 5 years specifically for bridges. Another program that's for bridges is more of a national competitive one. However, in that one, each state is guaranteed to have funding for at least 1 mega bridge in the state. A mega bridge defined by a cost of $50 million or more. And that program also, by law, says a state can decide that if they don't want $50 million to go to 1 bridge, they can have 2 bridges built up to that $50 million mark, or two bridges funded. So even though it's a national competition, there is by law a guarantee that each state is going to get at least one bridge out of that program. And so, again, from a national perspective, there are now funds geared specifically for bridges, more so than there ever has been in the past. Plus, there is millions and billions of dollars more available just for transportation in general from a national perspective. And again, each state, as we see in the recent budget announcements, Minnesota has billions of dollars in reserve. North Dakota has billions of dollars in reserve. And even though North Dakota did distribute out all of their COVID emergency funds, Minnesota still has a considerable amount of theirs yet to go through the legislative process. So North Dakota did spend millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars towards infrastructure. So that means, you know, from a state perspective, other higher needs are being funded. So these needs are now starting to rise up faster because we're funding all the previous identified needs that were higher ranked throughout the state and in both cities. So that's a long-winded answer to the question. The next steps are for continued work between the two cities and the MPO and our state and federal partners to try to fund and finance and construct not just this intercity bridge, but also the Merrifield, the more regional traffic bridge. And it's not I guess, which comes first is which one has the oomph behind it to get things lined up and getting done.